I'm holding here a summary of a poll that the center took of a number of military officers. And let me read two things and then I want you to ask you about it. Today's military officers believe we face very different security challenges than we did during the Cold War and must use different tools and strategies. And a significant majority of officers embrace a whole new paradigm in which strength and diplomacy and development assistance are important companions to traditional military tools. Admiral Lloyd, what do we make of that? Something changing?
Well, I think to some degree it's a blinding flash of the obvious on one hand. Anyone who is just gathering their news from almost any source, whether it's the Post and the Times or electronic media, has to recognize the complexity of what we are attempting to deal with in the international sphere today. And I think these military officers who have responded to this poll have been very realistic in recognizing that two things, I believe. One, their set of skills and competencies, their exclusive military set of skills and competencies, is just not adequate to the total task. And therefore, they're endorsing the general notions that they have heard and that they have personally experienced, that diplomacy and economic development as companion tools on a menu for decision makers and folks who are putting capability packages together must be recognized as being very, very legitimate for the 21st century.
Admiral Abbot, they're saying they want more of this.
That's right. And I don't think it's surprising either, as Admiral Loy comments, interesting results and useful, but in the experience that the U.S. military has had since the end of the Cold War in the Balkans, in Iraq with the first Gulf War, and now, of course, with the experience in Iraq and Afghanistan, I don't think it's a surprise that military officers are saying we need to do a better job of harnessing all the elements of power. I remember working as the commander of the Sixth Fleet for a jet named Admiral Joe Lopez, who was fond of pointing out that once it gets to armed conflict, it's at least 30 times more expensive from a resource standpoint, not to mention the loss of life and other national concerns. And military officers certainly would vote for bringing diplomacy and other sources of soft power to bear to help solve a problem before it gets to a kinetic stage. But even the notion that you need to work together between those elements of power is embedded in, I think, the results of the poll.
Well, let me draw you out a little bit on this. If we take Iraq as an example, among the many things the U.S. military is now doing, it's building schools, it's getting electricity up and running, it's bringing tribal elders and councils together. Are the military commanders saying we shouldn't be doing that, or are they saying we need help in doing that? Are they saying we need the civilians and the other part of the U.S. government in here to be doing this? What exactly are they saying?
I believe they're saying that there's a capability gap from what we need to be doing to what we find ourselves doing. There's probably still a menu of ways of which we could produce those capability packages, but I hear that military officers, and I myself endorse the poll's findings here, that military officers are fundamentally designed, trained over the years to do certain things. And it's not in their normal skill set to be building schools and to be responsible for education programs, to be responsible for healthcare programs. And in fact, they recognize that in other elements of the federal bureaucracy, we have those in great volume. But who is it that is pulling the capability package totally together, where that piece of military strength, that piece of diplomatic strength, that piece of economic development strength, or even the more functional things like education and health, can be pulled through a country team representative that is really the boss in terms of recognizing the requirements so that that multiple menu can be drawn from to meet U.S. intentions?